me feel like there was no tomorrow. Should've told you that you're beautiful, but the days pass and now it's so long ago. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it and did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? It's too late now, 'cause I'm growing old, but I need you to deal with my sorrow. Just a memory, just a broken frame, and I know that I have no one else to blame. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it and did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Should've told you that you're beautiful. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it and did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now?
Well, I guess that's as good a time as any to start. The beep has gone off. It's 5 o'clock. It is Sunday, the 25th of November, 1 month until Christmas. And it is time to candlelight and nobody's watching. I've had a busy day in the workshop, getting things done a few chores, but now I need to spend, or would like to spend, a little bit of time progressing these designs, catch up on where we got to yesterday and what I achieved this morning, and then get on with a few other bits and bobs, and I hope you will join me. I've put a new link for the Discord, bit.do/makegeek, easier to remember and type. Maybe if people fancy joining the Discord, it'll make that a little bit easier to do. Other than that, come and say hi in the chat, come and share what you're doing, hang out with me for an hour and get some work done. I will check into the Discord shortly. Hello, Philip. I see you're here already. Good evening. Question about spindle. How many amps? How many amps does it draw? That's a great question. I haven't the slightest idea how many amps it draws. I should probably know that sort of thing. I do run my CNC and my shop vac off the same breaker. In fact, I run my CNC spindle, the pump for the water cooling, all of the electronics, all off one off, basically one large extension. Saying that, actually, my shop vac is possibly on the new circuit, and the CNC might be on the old circuit. It's a 2.2 kilowatt spindle. I don't know what that means. I don't know why Discord wants to keep jumping to the top. Anyway, let's have a look at what we are working on today. So yesterday during the stream I did have the print running. I didn't check in on it. These were some little sample ideas. They obviously printed in 2 pieces. And I kind of have, there we are. And this was experimenting with how small I could go for possible pieces for my Star Wars cribbage thing. Not sure that's going to work. I think in order to get nice quality, I would have to make them quite big. That might be counterproductive in the game. So I might end up just making coloured pins. Other than that, I basically shared progress on the cribbage board. Here we can see a completed run of all of the drill out for all of the holes, which gives you an idea that after the end of yesterday's stream, I did go back and refigure things and realize that I was right the first time. It was going to be okay to get the right number of holes. What there was, what I'd forgotten was how many I was going to need to put in this sort of internal spiral. So let's just have a quick looky-loo. Let's come back to the beginning of how this all went and sort of show broadly. I think it was somebody's suggestion on the feed yesterday, possibly Philip, to kind of get the beginning of each section sorted out by dividing the area and then expand out from there. I pretty much ended up by eyeing the spacing on this first block for both sets, and then it was an awful lot of mirroring and tweaking and such to get it all the pieces in. Did end up tweaking this internal spiral a bit, which will become obvious why I had to do that in a minute, but that all worked out quite well. Chopped in and then just dropped in the 2 logos. This was quite good. I wanted this to sort of ramp up kind of process, and I spent a little while figuring out how to do it. I ended up making a coil of like 0.6% or 0.7 of a coil or something, and getting the right thing. So there we are. That's where we're up to. I ended up choosing the wood and coloring things and such to make it look good. I had to tweak this spiral in because what I needed to do was have these holes not interfere with these, specifically the edges of this. It caused me a lot of trouble in CAM initially. I have experimented with 2-sided milling, and I could make them from wood, although wood is quite, again, very tricky to do quite small things with because the grain tends to want to cause problems basically. But yes, I could probably print them better, but again, like I think the size is issue. And what I might do is try and come up with a more stylized thing, just like an X and a T or whatever, or X and a whatever that shape is, an H, I suppose, for a TIE fighter. So yeah, I might that requires some thought this week. But yeah, so I tweaked the path for these holes so that they'll either be completely inside or completely outside of these pieces, because the cam was kind of a pain. So I obviously did all the cam for this today as well. I actually ended up skipping on the facing, but drill operation, nice and easy. Basically just select the same, basically drill all holes of the same size. I ended up doing this at like 1200 RPM on a 3mm bit, which seemed to work quite nicely. I was a bit nervous. I didn't want to burn it out by going too fast, but I obviously needed to spin it fast enough to cut. 1200 seemed to work quite well. The one thing I did have, weirdly, with my CNC machine was that initially it got to like 3 holes in and just crashed out reading inputs. I don't exactly know what was going wrong, but I realized I hadn't rebooted my Raspberry Pi in about 180 days. So I did an update and a reboot, and that seemed to make everything happy. It certainly drilled all those holes, as we saw in the picture earlier. I have just done the adaptive clear path to remove the kind of bulk of this exterior material and contour to try and clean up the edge. That didn't work very well. I don't think my machine is quite stiff enough, or I should have been going faster. Not quite sure. It didn't give me a particularly clean side, and I'm gonna have to sand that, I think. Next thing to do is the adaptive on the slopes. That I will probably kick off at the end of this, so I have a chance to keep an eye on it whilst I'm cooking dinner. I would leave it running. I'm not a fan of leaving the CNC machine running when I'm not in the room. I have done it, but I definitely am not going to do it when I don't want to run out on the middle of the stream if I suddenly hear an alarming noise. So anyway, yeah, so that's going to be an adaptive. Then I figured a parallel will hopefully clean it up a little bit. I didn't know if there would be a better choice of paths. If anyone has other thoughts on what I could have done to get this cleaned up, that just felt like it would probably do all right. Then a contour again to try and clean up the internal wall. I might have to run that a bit slower than I had done. I'll have to figure that out. And then, so basically I want to get to this point. All the holes are drilled, all the exterior kind of surfacing is done. Then I'm thinking I will spray the whole thing in some kind of clear finish to try and seal the grain as much as possible, because what I want to do is then carve these two pieces and be able to spray, basically just mask out the circle as much as possible. Spray black in one and red in the other, and then just be able to sand off the excess on the top. But in my previous experience doing that stuff, the paint can bleed a little bit if you don't have sealant on the top, and I've heard that a lot of people seal first to give them a protective coating, then cut, then paint, and then sand, and that avoids some of that bleed out. That's the plan with that. The only other thing I need to do to this is figure out where I'm going to put the pegs. Often with a cribbage board you end up with a pocket on the back or drilled in the side that you put the pegs in, and I haven't quite figured out what I want to do there. It could be a good idea to, I don't know if you could hear that clicking just then. I think my iPhone was causing problems. Put dowels in holes to prevent paint clogging them up. That's a lot of holes to put dowels in. I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably just going to risk it, I think. So what I might do is actually, for a lot of this, is just sort of try and mask it off with masking tape or something, to try and minimize it. I have various approaches to this in the past when I've made signage, where I've tried like sellotape on top. I've tried sort of sticking paper down before the cut. Often the cut then just pulls it up, or you don't get clean edges. It's kind of a pain. We shall see. So yeah, I still need to think about what I want to do for a peg. So what I'm going to quickly do is model a peg, just to get a sense of what size I want to make them, and then think about where I might put such thing. Let's see, it doesn't really matter what axis we're on. Come on, give me, I don't really want it on the surface of the box. Let me get rid of that for a second. Oh, I wasn't clicking there, I was expanding the model. Turn that off. Stop sketch. Let's do that. Not that way. Why are you being such a pain? think that it is giving me jip for no reason. I think I'm once again pushing the machine a wee bit high. There we are. So 3mm, probably tapering up. Can we have sketches back on, please? Yeah, so I was thinking about the pegs, and originally I had this idea that I would basically use wooden dowels that go through the center of like a printed X-wing or TIE fighter type thing. But now I'm wondering whether I'm just going to end up putting essentially a red or a black tip on one of those things. Right, what am I doing? I'm rounding, I guess, the end. In the past, when I made cribbage boards as well, I've ended up just turning them by hand on the lathe. Why have I got no? Why am I not? Right, everything is definitely struggling more so today than it did yesterday, because it is being a wee bit slow and unresponsive. So let's turn the body back on. How big does it really need to be? So what is everyone else working on this evening? I'm continuing with this a little bit, and then I'm going to go back to the bandsaw stand, and I want to play a bit with trying to import an image and scaling it and all that kind of stuff to try and do a better job with that. Let's... Okay. So broadly, peg is going to be in somewhat like that. So that's probably a reasonable length. Could possibly get away with being a little bit narrower. What I might do is put say like a wider top on it. Wow, you can really see that thing juddering. Maybe this, because this build is now quite a lot more complicated than it was last night. There's a lot of pieces to move around, and it is not happy about it. If I do this though, if I make it too wide, it's going to be a pain to store. But if I make it wide, then I also get the advantage of a bit more surface area. I could maybe, so I was just thinking about making that like red or black, depending on the side. But that would be a pain to put anywhere. A 2D engraved figure on the CNC out of some thin sheet material, slot the dowel and then glue it on. Yes, that is also a possibility, although I'm not sure I entirely trust my CNC machine to work that nicely at small scale either. So it's sort of not. Well, it depends what it's doing, I suppose. One thing I did think I might do is CNC a little sketches for a second. CNC like a little TIE fighter logo here with a swoosh, and an X-wing logo here with a swoosh to kind of indicate you start here and then sweep round, etc. That might. That's a very good point. Not too wide, because otherwise they won't sit side by side, and that would be a problem. And that is almost certainly too wide for that. And often I have in the past. In fact, let's do it this way. Say they normally end up just like slightly fatter at the top and slightly thinner at the bottom, and you just taper between the two. So if I what do I want to do? I want a loft between that and that, really, don't I? Yeah, what if I ditch the, forget that. In fact, yeah, just delete that completely at the moment. And then I want to offset you down to about there. Oh, except I already know what's going to happen here. My sketch is going to come with it, isn't it? Yes. Helpful. Right. I want. So annoying when your brain doesn't quite work. I want this. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what I can do. I can. No. Too many things to select. Look. I want sketches active. Not all of the bloody sketches. But that sketch. No, not. Yes, okay. We just create ourselves a wee body. Good excuse to buy a laser cutter. Yes, that's exactly it for this Secret Santa present that is due in a week or 2 weeks. I should buy a laser cutter. I think I might get into a wee bit of an argument on that one. This is not going to work because I'm. Come on. Loft from there. To there. Is that going to work? It's probably not going to work. I probably need to fill it in. Yeah. Man. I don't know if it's coming across on the stream or if the stream always looks this jerky, but this thing is fighting me like nobody's business. In fact, maybe I should switch off. Maybe I should switch off this body and see if that helps. Like, oh my goodness. No, don't extrude it. I want to. Oh, not. Oh goodness. Let's try. I just want to fill in the middle. So that it's consistent, and then maybe the loft will work. -1. There we are. Now let's try a loft. Well, funnily enough, Philip, you say that my wife bought me a anniversary card this year that was a laser cut design in paper, and I did point out at that point that it's essentially it was essentially like she was suggesting I needed a laser cutter, like, because then we would be able to make those sorts of things. Oh dear, it's never good when Fusion puts itself in the background on its own. Right, can we please just sweep? Thank you. That's not exactly what I had in mind, but that's probably closer to a classic looking peg. And then I could still just spray the head one color or another. The other thought I did have, if I made this big enough, would be to embed a magnet in the top, and then I could always like make little figurines that are that also have magnet in, so they could stick on if you wanted them. But that's probably getting a bit excessive again for a thing that needs to be ready in the near future. Yes. So if I do that, turn off sketches again. If I do that, And again, I could make this bit marked off and just so this whole kind of tapered top is the color of your side. That would be kind of simple. And the question remains, where does that go for storage? You know, I could mill a hole in the top surface, or I could drill into the side. As always with that, the trick is exactly how you want to close it with a lid. In the other one that I made, I ended up milling in from the back side a pocket, and I literally put a metal cover over it and embedded a magnet. But that was a bit of a thicker board overall. Let me duplicate that for a second. It's not quite right. Whatever. It's not really in the hole, but you get the idea. Looking into adding a CO2 laser onto the CNC. Wow. Blimey, 500 quid, that's not actually that bad. But yeah, I feel like there's the one thing that puts me off or keeps me away from putting a laser on my CNC machine is the possibility of me burning everything down. I do not know where I want to put one of these. So if that's about the scale of it, let's tip it over. Yeah, if I could put a magnet in them, then that would be one thing. I could mill a hole. I mean, how much depth am I playing with here? Uh, 10 mil. So I could mill like 6 mil deep and have a thin case on top. Yeah, I would not want to risk. I mean, obviously there are the like laser goggly things, but there's a reason I think that professional laser machines come in their own like enclosures with proper venting and all that stuff. There's bad things happen to you if you do not treat that kind of pretty seriously. Right, I'm going to leave that for the moment. I still need to think about where the hell I'm going to put these pegs. I might do some searching later for inspiration and just ideas for that. Bandsaw stand, right. Hopefully things will behave a little bit quicker on a project which has a lot less going on in it, which is nice. So the thing that I wanted to play with, I did take some pictures, and I know somewhere in here there is a way of inserting a picture and calibrating it. And I've never tried that before, so I'm going to do that now. Place an image on a planar face or sketch plane. Okay, let's put an image just on a random planar face. And go find it. I did download. No, come here. Too many pictures. Right, here we are. So it's tiny at the moment. How do I do this whole calibrating thing? Scale X, Y, scale plane, horizontal flip, vertical flip. Like I want to be able to pick points on it and say it needs to be a certain size. I'm sure I've seen people talking about being able to do such things. Sketches, come on. No, here, you. Calibrate, that's what I want to do. So what we decided was that U to U was about 520 mil, and I don't know if this is going to make any difference. Okay, yeah, so about 200 mil. So that's sort of about right, I think. So let's just turn off this stuff for a second. I might just quickly try and recreate this a little bit based on that sketch, which is now why. What part of me clicking on this picture on this plane made Fusion decide that what I wanted to do is skip completely to a different plane? Right, let's see if we can't do this. So I think that is about the middle of that wheel. I'm completely wrong. Huh, well that's interesting. Let's not do it that way. Circle, let's do a 3-point circle. I'm gonna pick you and you and you. That looks about right. And let's do that again. Went outside the things. You and you and you. Okay, and let's draw some lines. So you in fact, let's, and then no, I want to repeat line. Come on. So I guess what's clear from this angle is the whole. Obviously, the machine itself is at a weird 45, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to get out of some of these lines. Other than confusion, let's try spline. No, that's really ropey. That's not what I want at all. Maybe. Yeah, I don't really want a spline there, apparently. Let's try it with just lines instead. So, let's zoom in. We'll come, and I don't know that I care about any of these notches, but for the sake of what causes it to curve? Do a 3-point circle, then cut it in half. Oh, you mean to get this top bit? I kind of just want the sort of rough-ish, as long as I'm within the ballpark, I think. I don't think it matters. Ah, come here. I don't think it matters enormously. as long as I'm sort of clear on the exterior pattern, but is that going to help? I do have another picture of the back section, because where would I guess I would, if I run this across to here, that's probably the sensible thing, and then I'll just create the exterior. Wait, I didn't, this is gonna drive me slightly crazy. I'm getting phantom clicks and weird behaviors. I think my poor laptop, which I can hear its fan just going mental right now. I think it would like me to give it a bit of a rest, but I cannot believe that we are already 1 month from Christmas. Okay, I'm just gonna stick that to there, and then yeah, if we drop you to there and you across there. Let's have you being, I don't know, 20 deep. Oh, and did I switch off bodies? Why can't I see the bodies I've just created? Because they're on that side of a picture. Okay, good. Turn that back on, and let's also do that. Yeah, we'll call it 30. I'm going to make that a new body for the moment. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a plane at an angle. So at an angle to this guy. Plane at angle to that line, I guess. I'm going to say it's at like 45. I'm going to try and put another canvas on that plane. Let's see what that looks like. Attach canvas to that plane. I'm realizing even as I do this that I probably won't be able to line these things up at all, but let's have a look. So this guy, now this one should be easy to calibrate because I put a ruler in the picture. So let's see how that works out for me. Calibrate. Let's say that between that line and let's say that line is exactly 200 millimeters. How are we looking? Sort of completely wildly off. I mean, I'm trying to even make sense of what my eyes are seeing right now. That does not look like those two pictures are at the same scale, does it? That's somewhat problematic, although maybe that is just the effect of to start prepping to deal with the relatives. Don't we all? Don't we all? Should be good though. I think Christmas is normally a pretty good time of year. For me, my birthday is on Boxing Day, so that is always fun for me. Right, I'm gonna turn that one off, and I'm gonna try for a second to sketch on this plane, and I want to create like that's sort of the bulk of that back box. I think I concluded yesterday that that is 9.5 mil, 9.5 centimeters even. Other way. New body. Let's do another line around here. This plane, please. I swear to God, Fusion, when I select a plane, it would be really nice if you would actually select the freaking plane that I've selected. No, not that one. Like literally, this canvas is on a plane, isn't it? It's gonna annoy me. It's gonna annoy me. Where is my construction? Turn the plane on. That plane right there. Thank you. Fine. Right, so let's I'm just gonna no, don't ticky tick me. I'll do. And why would you put green tick right where I need to put my so that comes down to about, is that actually part of the thing? No, that's part of something behind it, I'm pretty sure. Let's just come all the way down to kind of there, and I'm gonna this is not very exciting, I'm sure. I'm feeling a wee bit lost with what I am. No wonder, because I ended up with sketch whatnot's way off plane. How did that connect down to there? I didn't ask for 3D geometry. Thank you. That is kind of annoying. Turn the body off for a second. Probably shouldn't have put the ruler in the way. No, don't select things that aren't even in my plane. I don't want to. How have I wound up in this situation? I thought that when you were sketching, unless you actually asked for it to go into its own into 3D, I thought it stayed on the same surface you were on. That is not what's happened. It has taken a line off the back of my surface onto there. That is entirely unhelpful. Did I do inches? I definitely did not do inches. Or, you mean did I select inches? I'm pretty sure I didn't select inches when Did I select inches when I was calibrating this thing? I mean, that's entirely possible now that you mention it, because I did go from 10 to 20 and I was zoomed in. Let's go back to here. In fact, no, let's just try calibrating it again and seeing if what happens there. Okay, I'm gonna select. I want to select this guy here and that guy there, and say that is 100 mil. That was a great call. I selected inches. And that's now that looks much closer to the right size. Stupid boy. Okay, yes. So we can just pretend that that didn't happen. In fact, let's just edit that guy. How do you get back to editing the size of a box? Do you have to... Is that... How do you edit the size of a box? I suppose I can dimension it. Yeah, you know what? Forget that completely. I want to get rid of that. I'm just gonna start that again. We'll come back to here. Stop the sketch. Come back to here. I'm gonna delete everything after that. We'll pretend that Dan isn't an idiot and he didn't calibrate completely to the wrong freaking size. And then we'll start again. No, don't. This plane, sketch on this plane, you stupid thing. And stay on the plane that I tell you to be on. Right. The broad body is there. Honestly. I just... Oh. What I just did is not let it realize that it was going to do a cut. I didn't let it wait for it to render. Right. In fact, did I... I just joined. I didn't mean to do that either. Let's do as a new body. Okay, but that does sort of look something like it, right? Kind of, maybe. Not sure that it's 45. We'll see. Hold down control, it will not try to attach things to the background. Ah, that is a good tip. I did not know that one. I knew that you can do... I thought holding down control let you select things that are all the way through the depth, because I definitely had that before where I intentionally wanted to select something that is like underneath the layer I'm on, and I had to do it that way. Let's see, do I want to create the handle like this? Kind of do, kind of don't. Because it's going to be in the middle of that box. It's going to be in the middle of that box and not in the side of it. I think that goes back further. This whole calibrating an image thing is all very well, but it's a bit tricky on really complicated shapes. Like I feel like I don't know exactly where to position in space these things. Select plane face, like turn on the plane, select it, thank you, turn off the plane, don't do that. I want to try and create this handle as a sort of... No, don't you dare. Oh, don't come here. Holding down control so that you don't attach to shit that I don't want you to be attached to. So let's go across to here. I just want to get and now you may connect. Come on, you, and we'll call you like 40 mil, 30 mil, 40 mil. U body. Right, and now I'm going to move that body. Not at all in that orientation. Come on, don't mess me around. There we are. That's the orientation. Into the middle. So I don't think that is a 45-degree angle on the real bandsaw. I think I probably got that wrong. It's probably slightly less because this does connect to that bottom section. Let's turn off the canvases for a second. It's crude. It's very crude, but it could get us somewhere. Also more accurate the longer the distance you calibrate is. Right, yes, that is a good point. I probably could have done, what I should have done obviously was have a ruler on all of the pictures. And if I'd thought about it, it might have been an idea to try and take it from like all four sides and then set up calibrated canvases on all four sides of a box. Maybe that would help, I don't know. So let me just switch on this stuff again. Oh no, not that. Okay. So let's move you, and you. What are we doing? We are rotating you. Oh, want you guys as well. We'll take you like that. Oh, other side, obviously. Bum, 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 bum. Bit more like this. That's pretty close. Put it there. Let's switch on. What have we got? Is that the other side? That's the other side. So that, I still need to figure out exactly what that angle is. But at least from a height point of view, that's closer to correct, I think. Okay. That's enough of that for right now. The other thing I need to think about is this stupid cabinet doors. So yesterday I was thinking about scaling these up so that each stick is just one profile, and that idea was not met with enthusiasm by the person in charge of all design things that happen inside the house. So the other option is to basically create these as a pattern of these at the same size, but in such a way that I can do them all in one go. So I just want to have a quick look at how many, whether there's like an even number of width. That's the problem, or at least I need to be somewhat close. Let's do that for a second, and then let's create another one. So, has everyone had a good weekend? As we enter the last few minutes of time before dinner goes in, I trust you've had productive times. That is not quite right, is it? Kind of annoying, in fact, because that is, it's a big fraction of one missing, but not like, I guess I could make them all slightly wider so it would be similar in scale to the door, but not exactly the same. Yeah, that would be quite a bit off. So if I grew them a wee smidge so that they're, what do I want to do? Like either they stay the exact same scale as the finished door, in which case that won't work very nicely across these sticks, or I make them slightly different, and if I make them slightly different, why not make them a lot different? I'm playing with an oscilloscope multimeter and found out that my breakout board's pulse modulation output isn't working properly. Explained a lot. Well, I've always wanted to actually know how to use an oscilloscope. I have an oscilloscope in the loft, which I acquired from my father, who worked as an X-ray engineer for a long time, and so it's an old one. But aside from being fascinating machines, I literally have no real idea what I'm doing with them. Like I can just about work a multimeter, and if like a circuit is actually broken, I can sometimes figure that out. I did fix the switch on my my bench belt sander thing yesterday, but that basically involved to take the switch apart, clean up the contacts, and put it back together again, which did not require a multimeter or an oscilloscope to figure out. Oh dear, I feel like I've run out of steam for this weekend. I need to carry on with my CNCing of the cribbage board, which I am quite excited about. I do need to break the back of exactly how I'm going to do this door. Oh, interesting. I didn't know you can get oscilloscopes that connect to multimeters, like little things. I mean, I guess anything that can kind of show you like an over time snapshot, as opposed to just like, you know, it's currently exactly this many volts, trying to get you an insight into that digital signal type stuff. But electronics is largely over my head. It's all a bit of a dark art once you get beyond the absolute basics. I say dark art, I guess physics starts having quite interesting effects, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh no, come on, create a copy. Right. But this would be sort of the idea, I guess, for this, would be literally digitally tessellate these things in the way that I was tessellating them manually for the other door. Just pick an exact layout and then just cam up, running through the gamut in one go. So just, which could be good or could yield a complete nightmare of difficult to sand, because one of the things that they didn't come cleanly off the CNC machine when certainly done in oak. I had to do a fair amount of sanding. Now this will not be oak, it'll just be cheap pine and then stained the same colour. Digital storage scope. Interesting. Now, Paul, are you more of an electrician? Like, do you understand what you're doing? It sounds like you have more experience in the field than we do. Yes, I do need to. I think it's just, it's been a busy weekend of getting things done, and I'm hungry at this point, so I think it is probably time to go put the beef in the oven for dinner, and I will hit this with more enthusiasm later. I often find this about projects, like particularly projects like this, where I'm like just not exactly certain about which way to go, and so then I procrastinate terribly. Whereas once I've made the call and it's like, fine, we're just going to do it this way, then it's easier to charge ahead. But this kind of issue where I'm like, well, this is the stock size I have to deal with, but these are my patterns. I could just ignore the design input that I received and say, I'm still going to make each of these one giant one and see what it looks like, and deal with the repercussions of that decision. Or I could try scaling these enough that it looks kind of okay, I guess. Scale them up so that 3 across is going to fit. That might be the thing to do. I mean, I suppose I could plane down the raw material to be exactly 30 across, so each one will be an exact 3. Maybe that's a better idea. I'm going to need to joint them anyway, particularly if I buy the rough stock. Maybe that's what I need to do, is just plan on ripping like 4 mil off the edge of each side or whatever, or of each of these, so that they have flat sides to joint and they're exactly through. That's probably what I'm going to do. Right. Paul, thank you very much. That is much appreciated. Again, it will be awesome to get those and update the printer. I might even try reprinting some of these little parts with the updates to see if it makes any difference to how fuzzy they came out. Right, time for some music and some exit. There we are. Until next time, see you next week.